These notebooks right here, they have more influence on my grades than any other textbook that I own. Not because they're magic, but because they decide whether everything that I know how to do, be it the active recall, the spaced repetition, and so on and so forth, actually happen on the days where I least feel like doing it. Having a system is not the most exciting part as a student. It is absolutely the most boring part. But also, trust me, it is the part that actually makes the exciting one even possible. So today, I'm showing you mine. All of it. Not the aesthetic version, but the actual one. Okay, some quick context before we get headed. This is really important. Motivation is completely unreliable. It shows up on some days, and some days it just decides to ghost on you, especially the days that you need it the most. Here's why the system is better. A system doesn't ask you, how are you feeling? It tells you what is next. What I'm about to show you runs on 4 layers, on different levels of zooming, starting right from the smallest, the most daily level, all the way to the big picture check-ins that happen every few weeks or months. So let's get started right from the bottom. This is the one thing that I do every single day. It's not an exception. It is a rule. Not because I'm rigidly disciplined or something, but because the layout itself is so effortless. Let me show you what's on the page. Every month starts with an overview page, events, deadlines, but also honestly, just things like movies that I like that month. It's not purely academic, it's a record of the month as a whole, not just a to do list. Once in a month, 5 categories: physical, emotional, spiritual, school, and friends. Not a deep journaling session, but just an honest snapshot. Where am I actually at each of these right now? This is the layer that catches the stuff a to do list would never. Like realizing that you've been so deep in revision, you haven't actually spoken to a friend properly in the past 2 weeks. This page is intentionally messy. Whatever is loud in my head gets dumped here. No structure, no filtering. Half the value of a brain dump isn't even reading it back. It's just getting it out of your head so that it stops taking up the mental space when you're trying to focus on something. Every single day. 2 small entries. One thing I'm grateful for, and one thing I want to remember from that day. This sounds quite small, but a year of this is generally one of my favorite things I own. It's a year of my life in 2 lines a day, written by someone who's actually there, not just reconstructed from memories months later. Then the actual engine room, a week by week grid, a column per day, where the real to-do list lives. This is the part that's doing the daily heavy lifting. Everything else gives it context. This is where the work actually gets tracked. And every month, one full page. That's just a doodle. No productivity purpose whatsoever. Generally, just because a notebook that's 100% optimized, 0% personality is a notebook I'd stop using instantly. The doodle page is what makes it feel like mine instead of a system that I just copied off the internet. If the bullet journal is the more daily and the more personal part of this system, the Google Calendar is the weekly skeleton that everything else hangs on, or at least tries to hang on. I run on something which I call the ideal week method. So every single week, instead of trying to plan it from the scratch, the idea is there's this template week that I build with every single important event time blocked, be it my school hours, be it my library study sessions, my gym sessions, my tuitions, and all of that. Every single Sunday, I'm not opening my calendar to a blank white page, but rather to a template of every single important event that I can just adjust to match that week. And let me tell you something honestly, I do not follow my calendar rigidly. And that is completely intentional here. The point isn't obedience to your calendar to the T. The point is that every single week, I should roughly know what I should be doing and where I should be. And the idea is to eliminate the idea of thinking 20 times a day, what do I do right now? What do I do right now? The calendar gives you sort of a weekly glance of all of the most important things that are happening that week. The school events, the library sessions, the gym sessions, the tuitions, and every single thing. The idea is to ensure that every single important thing doesn't get quietly sidekicked when something else feels urgent in that moment pops up. This is where it connects to something that I've spoken about before on this channel. If you saw my video on the actual science behind learning, this is exactly when the entire system becomes real day to day. Notion for me is specifically for academic tasks, for the flashcards, for the spaced repetition tracker, for knowing what to revise and when to revise it. If the bullet journal is my life, Notion is my syllabus. Mixing revise chapter 4 in the same list with call grandma makes everything feel so much heavier than it really needs to be. Keeping each one in its separate list keeps each of them focused, and this is a deliberate choice. And then sitting above all three of those levels, the daily, the weekly, and the academic, is the one with no fixed schedule. The macro reflection, or the iteration bit. It doesn't happen on any fixed day or at any fixed intervals. It just happens when it feels needed. When something in your mind just feels off. Or when a large chunk of time has actually passed and you actually want to check, is my system still even working? Am I still doing the things that are helping me get to where I want to be? Or is the entire system running on autopilot with no purpose whatsoever? This is the part that most people end up skipping entirely because there is no fixed schedule for it. But trust me, it's also the part that fixes most of your problems. It's not asking, did I miss doing my flashcards? But rather, it's asking, for the entire whole month that's passed, have I been optimizing on the wrong things? So that is the actual operating system. Not just one app, not just one trick, 4 layers, each catching what the others miss. Daily capture in the journal, weekly structure in the calendar, academic execution in Notion, and finally, reflection sitting above all of it, ensuring that all three of them are pointed in the right direction. None of this works because a single layer is clever. No. It all works because all of the layers cover for each other's blind spots. If you're someone who's ever tried a productivity system before and had it break apart 2 weeks in, it's probably not because you're lazy and lack discipline. No, it's probably because you had one layer. And one layer shatters the moment life comes in. So that is what the rest of it is for.